Hello, fellow grognards. I am here with Matt. Hello, Matt.
What's up?
It's up indeed. It's been a while since we've done one because last week I got married. So been doing other stuff basically. And
A very fine day it was too.
it was good, mate. It was good. Yeah, it was very nice. We actually had some nice sunshine before
Yeah, weather was good.
normal
Zero-
weather reasserted itself, and there was drinks and good company and no disasters.
No, good. Zero drama.
As far as weddings go, and I've not been to many, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm fine.
But we're back now, and the people need their dose of grognardness, I think. So that's what we will provide. So
Yeah, I'm not sure that anyone needs it, but they're going to get it anyway.
yeah, exactly. Well, need, we have inverted commas, need subject themselves to. So there's not actually been a great deal going on with Warhammer, to be honest, with the news and everything and models, because they're all waiting for this Adepticon preview to kick off.
We were so hoping there'd be some Heresy stuff there.
We were, yeah, but we're going to have a
hearing.
look at this now. So they've said, prepare for a huge Warhammer preview, and then they showed what there will be, and it was underwhelming to say the least.
Not Heresy.
No Heresy, just Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Old World, and Kill Team. And I'm like, is it worth me staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning to watch this, or should I just see it when I woke up?
Yeah, and that purple or black thing that's going to give people with that phobia of lots of holes close a bit of a hard time is clearly some sort of Tyranid nest.
It's Tyranid terrain. We've already seen Tyranid terrain in some of the other shots that they've showed off. There's been some terrain that has been Tyranid terrain that is not the Forge World stuff.
Yeah.
But I would have rather they showed off something like one of those big... I don't think this looks good. I don't think it's painted well. I don't think it looks like just cheap plastic shite. If they'd shown off some of the spines and stuff, it might have looked half decent. But that looks worse than anything that I've seen 3D printed.
It's terrain, and it like you don't want it to distract from the actual models too much. Unless it's statuary.
I think as far as going and showing things that people should be excited for, that's not it, But it is nice that they have remembered that this edition was meant to be about the Tyranids.
Yeah.
They've finally gone back to that as we start to wind down the edition. So, better than nothing. Maybe there'll be a new book coming out with a terrain in it or something, I don't know, that shows, a Tyranid battle that ties into some Space Marine chapters or something that, we know there's stuff coming for. We'll have to wait and see. I still have a passing interest in 40k at the end of the day. Age of Sigmar will just be some nice new models for whatever they show off.
Yeah, Old World might be nice new and nice old models.
Yeah, Old World, who have they got left to do?
Skaven are apparently off the list, ain't they?
They're not doing Skaven, they're not doing Dark Elves. Who's next? They've done Chaos. Beastmen, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it'll be the Beastmen. So it'd be nice to see those Ungors and stuff all come back. And then Kill Team, it'll be the next Kill Team box, won't it? Whatever that is. I heard something about Deathwing or something like that. But yeah, no Horus Heresy, which is a big miss.
Yeah, Deathwing, Kill Team. It's going to be like 3 Terminators.
Not Deathwing, sorry. Grey Knights.
Gadzooks,
Which
man.
will probably also be... Which will also probably be 3 Terminators. So, I mean...
Yeah, it's 4 models and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think...
Do you reckon this will be their opportunity to actually Primaris some of the Grey Knights into a Kill Team?
Apparently that's not how... I mean, I would think if they release anything, it would be Primaris, but apparently the full redo of the Grey Knights is not happening this time round. Well, but yes, one would have to say that it would have to be... I don't think they've released Firstborn Primaris. So unless they're just going to just do Terminators to get round it, and they'll just be scale Terminators, I don't know. But that's what I've heard is coming, is some kind of Grey Knights box set, Grey Knights versus whoever the hell it is. So
demons, kind of what they're for.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be demons, wouldn't you? I mean, I don't know.
We'll they pulled very good looking rattlings out of the hat, like a few boxes ago. So fuck knows what's coming.
GW always seems to do something that surprises. Do you know what I mean? It's like they managed to do something that you're just like, oh, okay, I didn't quite expect that.
Yeah.
even in their previews and stuff. So we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, it's not the most exciting thing considering it's Adepticon. 4 systems and like 40k. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. They do normally save the good stuff for the Yanks at the end of the day.
Yeah. Do you reckon they'll do what they did with Legions Imperialis and they'll just have like a little teaser for Heresy at the end?
Yeah, maybe like a little trailer or something, like a teaser trailer, just saying it's coming. But we'll talk about the Heresy rumours in a bit, because I'm not particularly enthralled with what I've heard, with either the contents of the box or what potentially could be happening to, the rules and stuff. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Adepticon, I'll check it out, I dare say. But will I check it out live, or will I check it out, the morning after, and I'll wake up and just look at the pictures? I don't know. But yeah, hopefully it'll be something decent, something to get excited about. But yeah, no Horus Heresy from what we can see. Nothing really specialist games at all. There's no Legion Imperialis. There's no Blood Bowl. The old world, I think, is being handled by those guys, but that's about it. But again, as we've said, that'll be 80% old models, whatever it is. If it's the Beastman, it'll be like, one new character that I think we saw last time round, the Beast Gore Shaman type dude, and maybe a new unit. But the Beastman got done fairly late into Fantasy's lifespan. So
the High Elves as well, though, you were saying, and they got a look in.
Yeah, but the High Elves didn't get many new units at all.
No.
They got a couple of characters, I think. I don't think they got any new plastics, because again, they got it done with the Island of Blood. So we'll have to wait and see. This is why I'd like to see Dark Elves or something like that get, done, because they do have some really, really, really clunky old units. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And it's nice the old world's there. I do like the models. It's a nice bit of retro nostalgia, but yeah, not blown away by anything they've announced for Adepticon yet. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Another bit of news that we did get, which we've not discussed, is the least surprising bit of news that we possibly could have got, and that is Space Marine 3 being announced.
Yep.
Which, as I said, I don't think anybody would have been shocked by that at all.
No.
And yeah, they're obviously starting pre-development, or whatever you want to call it. I doubt we'll see it for a good few years. Maybe it'll tie into the new Amazon show and stuff like that.
I'd say it's at least 3 years off.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. But I mean, what would you like to see in the sequel? What changes would you like to see made?
I mean, it's Space Marine. They pretty much set a pattern now that they've got 2 games and how they play. So
yep, but I think they could break away from it. That's what I'm saying. I think the Space Marine 2, although it's so popular, I think there's certainly things that they could change in Space Marine 3.
A bit too limited mechanics-wise
these
days.
Exactly.
For the 21st century. I think it's going to be a given that they're going to be Necrons in it.
I'd love to see Necrons, because then you basically get, as I said many times before, you will essentially get a zombie shooter.
Yep.
And
but
that sounds just great. But ranged zombies, the worst kind of zombies. But
exactly.
I can very much see just gunning down Necrons, and you've got other Necrons to deal with, but the Necron you've just shot is slowly re-knitting itself together.
Reassembling,
and then gets back up and shoots you in the bum, kind of thing,
Yeah, it's like a Chumbawamba song.
yeah. So that'd be really cool. I also would like to see the amount of playable characters in the co-op campaign bumped up.
Yes.
I'm sick of 3-man squads. If you've got a 4th person who wants to play, they can't.
If they want to get some advantage over games that are, I would argue, potentially more popular, like Helldivers 2, which is still going strong at the moment.
Yep.
Then I would say they need at least 5-man squads.
Yes.
It's a combat squad.
Make it a combat squad. Yeah, that's exactly my point. Make it a combat squad. I don't want this 3-man Primaris squad bollocks. Make it a combat squad. Make it 5 people. It doesn't have to be 5 people. That's another thing that I want to see. I want to see scaling based upon how many people are playing.
Yep.
So, if you've got full 5 people playing, then you have 150% enemy numbers. There's no reason you can't do that with modern technology and the engine that you've got these days, especially if you are doing something like Necrons that's not going to have to be throwing hordes and hordes and hordes and hordes of stuff at you.
Seems legit. Unless it's Scarabs.
Yeah, but I mean, again, even scarabs is just, it's just going to be lots and lots of numbers of annoying little things that you'd just
Actually, if rippers or anything to go by, they're just going to be annoying floor swarmy things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get, brother, get the flamer, the heavy flamer kind of thing. To take those down. But yeah, I certainly would like to see more players being able to play. I did like the idea. Really did like the operations that you play the other half of the campaign that you're hearing about.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I thought that was a great idea, but I think we could step away from that and we could have a lot more variety in the co-op missions, because of it is side missions, you are just tied into what you do. So you are just tied into doing the stuff that you hear over the comms chatter. They could go a lot further with that with the PvE, I think, and have a procedural setup like Helldivers to keep it fresh every single time. Because although it is procedurally, that there is a procedural AI for where the enemies turn up, the level is the same every time. Like every time you do the first mission, you have the same layout, you have the same bits in the mission, and if they could just do like a sandbox map and just dump stuff in it and give you an objective, a bit more like Helldivers, I think that would be a lot more fun. And then you can have some cool stuff like rescue the objective and then hold out from the hordes while you try and escape and wait for a Thunderhawk come down. Nick some ideas from Helldivers, that's fine. Warhammer's been borrowing ideas from things for a long time now. It's not a problem.
It's an obsession, pretty much.
But it would make the game a lot more fun, I think.
Yeah, rescue the astropath.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, rescue the astropath or whatever. Or you could even have something like Uncover the Titan or something like that. With 40k, there's a limitless amount of ideas you could have, which is one of the great things about it. And although Space Marine 2 is very good, we have talked about these flaws before, and I'd like to see these addressed with the new one. They've got plenty of time. Just don't turn out Space Marine 3 with a different skin and different enemies. That's not what is needed.
No.
I think that to turn it from like an 8 out of 10 game to a 10 out of 10 game, you need to take some things on board. You need to make some changes.
Yeah. I mean, it'll still be fun. Like, it's just not...
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, Space Marine 2 is fun. But I don't know if they've just put a new PvE mission in it that we've not played yet.
Still haven't checked it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. This is just showing how much that it's just not, ringing our bells at the moment. We got bored of it. There's no two ways about it. We played quite a lot of it, but then we got a bit bored of it, and it's unfortunate. We do.
Yeah. What proper hammered it flat for us was Helldivers 2 introducing the Illuminate. Yeah. And then it was just like, okay, then off we go.
It's like, we could play that where it's going to be, dynamic and different, and it's like, oh god, it's a strider, and you need to take that out, and you've got all these different missions and tactics you can do. You've not got so much of that in Space Marine. You can choose different classes and stuff, but it's still just it does all just get a little bit samey after a while. And it's the game it is. There's nothing there's nothing particularly wrong with it, but I just don't want. I want to see them learn lessons for Space Marine 3 and make some changes.
I think they will.
And I'd love to see maybe Terminators and things like that. Maybe you have to put Terminator suit on and go stomping in that and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Sabre have been pretty good about listening to people and putting stuff in where they can so far. I think they've reshuffled their roadmap a little bit to bring some stuff forward that people.
Yeah, Horde mode's been bumped right up as a priority, I think, which I'm personally very, very, very grateful for, because I think that's needed to inject some life back into it.
Yeah.
Because we were just at the stage where it was like, oh, what operations shall we do? And it's like, I don't really fancy doing that one. Don't really fancy doing that one. Oh, we've done that one loads. Whereas if it was just a procedurally generated thing, you were like, right, we just choose a planet and we just choose an enemy and we just go down there, boom.
Yep.
You have a lot more scope for it. So it's obviously going to continue Titus's story, and we know that, and that's fine. I've not got problems with it being Ultramarines or anything like that, although I would like to see some other chapters come into it and then some conflict between those chapters. That would be cool. And then you've got other chapters that you can play. Yeah, physical conflict. Why not? Why not have some, some pious I don't know, Black Templars come in and have an issue with the librarian. Give us a librarian to play with, because that'll give us because that's something we haven't got, librarians and other character types. Give us a librarian to play with, and have the Black Templars have a big problem with it, or something like that. Or, you know, there's lots of things you can do with the lore, and after a while, the Ultramarines like bickering against each other. It's not all that interesting. And the final stand cutscene was brilliant, all that kind of stuff. But for anybody who doesn't play Ultramarines, I feel a bit sick, a bit sympathetic for them, I suppose.
Hey, how's it going?
yeah. So even bring in the dress wearers, the Dark Angels, bring those guys in, have a little bit of conflict. Maybe have a couple of side missions where you don't play as Titus, you play as a different Space Marine chapter or something. Just mix it up a little bit. That's all I'm saying. But I'd say Sabre, good hands. I don't have any concerns with what Sabre would do or anything like that. But just some more ideas, some more bits and pieces. Definitely not a mission where you pilot an Invicta battlesuit, though. That can fuck right off. So that's coming out. I mean, we're not going to see it for years, man, and we don't know what changes are going to happen to 40k in that time. We may well end up with bloody girl Space Marines by then, and you get a girl Space Marine, Space Marine 3. Who knows?
Oh, Sororitas.
I certainly I certainly wouldn't have any problems with playing as Sororitas or Sisters of Silence. That'd be cool.
Very much.
Very cool. Female Space Marines, not so much. But that's just because we're bitter, misogynist. Help me out. Misogynist.
Misogynist. I think it's safe to say that we're not misogynists, but
we can't. I think it's safe to say that we can't say misogynist.
I just did. But I mean, we just like our Marines as Marines. Thanks, we just keep them as they.
Yeah, we're just grumpy and set in our ways. So
didn't even like Primaris stuff. What did you expect us to like?
No, they was on Facebook earlier, and they were like, "Oh, what would you like to see from Dawn of War 4, or whatever they're doing?" I'd like to see no Primaris, but we all know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, you're trying to build your units, and it's just like, fucking, it's just going to be like, what would you like to build next? Incursors, Infiltrators, Eliminators, Inceptors, Suppressors. Oh, I caught you out there. Oh, God, can you imagine? It'd be a nightmare.
It's one of the worst designs of Marines I've ever fucking seen.
Terrible. Here's your Inceptors. Oh, no, please, no. Right, so we've got some rumours here for the Horus Heresy, which I thought we'd have a look at, because it doesn't look like this is going to be happening at Adepticon, so I thought we could talk about it now.
Yeah.
So the big rumours, and these are mainly from sort of the Valraks of the world and things like that. So, as he would say, rumours are rumours. So, we don't know. This could all be absolute bollocks, and I kind of hope it is, if I'm being honest.
Our chum Carl brought them to our attention.
Indeed. Apparently, he's seen the pictures of the set, and he is not impressed.
Well, no, his acquaintance has seen the pictures.
I thought Carl said he'd seen it, but
nah, not
that
him.
was all.
It was his mate.
Oh, his mate's seen it, right?
His mate was not impressed. I mean, I'm kind of, just by looking at the list that we've been given, even I'm a bit like, really? I'm not sure we needed any of this stuff.
Yes, no, I agree. There's lots of things they could do before they have to get to this stage. So they're saying, let's start at the beginning. They're saying that it's going to be Salamanders versus Iron Warriors. And that, for a start, I'm like, yes. Because both of those chapters got kind of forgotten a little bit in the grand scheme of things. So
underrepresented.
It's nice to see a bit of representation for them.
Absolutely fine.
And I don't have a problem with that. So they're saying it's going to be packed with Mark II armour. This does seem a bit weird, seeing as they've already done Mark VI towards the end of the Heresy, and they're like, well, now we're going back in time.
It's such an odd one.
To do Mark III. Especially when we still don't have Mark V, and that would tie in better with the Corvus armour.
I think that's the most annoying thing. It's like Mark V is my favourite pattern.
Yeah,
I'm just like, what are you doing?
Well, obviously, Mark V is the one that was made out of lots of different suits, wasn't it? So it's kind of like a hodgepodge armour. But the fact that we've not had it at all is a little bit...
Yeah, it's a little bit weird. Who at Specialist Games really doesn't like Mark V?
Like, put your hands up.
You've done 6. You've done 3 twice.
Yeah.
Now you're doing 2 twice.
Yeah.
Like, when are you gonna? Can you just... What the fuck?
So, the rumoured models are basically a load of Mark II stuff. You've got Mark II parades, heavy weapons teams, and tactical marines.
Yeah.
I would turn around and say that we need breaches. or destroyers.
We do need breaches.
More than that.
Yep.
You know,
like we need both of those.
I'm not going to. If you put breaches and destroyers in this box, I'd be like, oh, I kind of need those. I'll probably get this, but I'm like, do I really need another 20 tactical marines when I've already got 60?
No,
probably not. You know, and that's what I'm going to be looking at it like. It's like, well, we've got all this, and I'm not sure why you've done this and not the other stuff. Like, okay, yeah, you'd expect to get praetors in any starter set, so that's fair enough. I get that. You can convert those or whatever, but why I've not done breaches and stuff, I have absolutely no idea. And then they're going like Saturnine heavy, apparently. Now, I'll put a picture up of here of what the Saturnine Terminators used to look like. They're not great.
They're basically...
They're of a time, aren't they, Matt?
The original Terminators, aren't they? They look like a...
With the big rounded shoulder pads that are massively over the top.
I think they look absolute shit. I had one in metal, which was part of a job lot that I got from someone that was coming out of the hobby.
Yeah.
I disliked it so much, I donated it to Warhammer World so that someone can paint it up and stick it in a case.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, I was just like, I don't want it.
We'll put a picture up. They look silly, and I don't know how they're going to make it look not silly.
And the weird thing is that I don't think that those are considered to be Saturnine Terminators anymore, because if you have a gander online, and there's a little bit of info for Saturnine stuff knocking about.
It was in the Bly books, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's
the big black books. They're in those.
But in the old black books, it's mentioned in Betrayal, and it's also shown in the most recent, like, second edition rule book. And it shows them introduced after Mark 6.
Oh right, okay.
So according to that,
at the end of the Heresy, then. Yeah,
it's a more modern design of Terminator, but functionally, it's supposed to be identical to Indomitus, which is the 40k classic pattern, and Tartarus.
Yes.
So again, I'm kind of like, I think that's being retconned somewhat, because if they're introducing them here in 2 units of 3, and they're supposed to be chunkier than normal Terminators, I'm like, what's the point if they're just going to be a smaller unit of what we've already got in Tartarus? Like, what?
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I very much dislike the units of 3. That's a 40k-ism that can fuck right off.
It's just weird. Like, why would you go with such an old power armor mark and then introduce Terminators which have been retconned to be more modern?
Yes,
which is the opposite.
So, a unit of 3 is just, in the grand scheme of the Heresy, it's nothing. You'd not have a unit of 3 of anything.
It's crap.
The
Mechanicum get away with it, because when they bring a unit of 3 things, they're fucking big.
Yeah, but that's Automatus, isn't it? That's a huge, big...
Like Myrmidons, they basically come in units of 3, but you can beef them up from there.
But they're not men per se, are they? They're not a military unit or a squad. A squad of 3 is just shit. We've already talked about that with Space Marine 2. Yeah. It's pointless.
Heresy. The crux of the Heresy is to max out squads.
Exactly. Yeah. Have huge units. So you're playing these massive battles. I mean, imagine if they take this to Legion Imperialis and you've got 3 tiny little Terminators sat in the base.
Some people did that to save models.
Oh yeah.
But I was like, okay, then you can roll less dice. And they're like, what? Carry on. But I mean, like, the way the Heresy, the mechanics are done with the points costs is that you buy into the unit, and then when you add models to it, it's cheaper.
Yes, because you're not buying the outlay all over again. Yeah.
You literally get a discount by adding models to it. So if a squad's like 100 points for 10, when you add guys in, they're going to be like 8 or 9 points a model instead of 10. In the long run, you spend less than you would have done if you'd have got 2 full.
And I just don't want these 3-man. I just don't want these 3-man squads. It started in Age of Sigmar. It crept its way into 40k with the new edition. It was like, we can't possibly give you 5 Blade Guard for 40 quid. So here's 3 Blade Guard for 40 quid instead. And if it's crept its way into the Heresy, I'm like, really not happy. So we'll have to wait and see. Then there's apparently a Praetor, which, fair enough, great big character model, Saturnine. And then apparently there's a Saturnine Dreadnought. Now,
why?
That is new, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's never been a Saturnine. Why do we need a Saturnine? What's wrong with a fucking Leviathan?
Yeah, I mean, Cole said that it's kind of almost akin to a Telemann for the Custode.
Yeah, and I don't even like the bloody Telemann. It's
I do.
stupid. I know you do. You're weird like that.
I think I'm in a minority there. I really like the big chunkiness of it. So you know, if it's going to be akin to looking like that, I'm kind of like, okay. But if it's going to look like...
But then if it looks like that, surely you're just taking something away from the Custodes. Their Custodes is not as special anymore. And all you're doing is you're making the Leviathan a lesser thing. I mean, the Leviathan should be the top line before you get to Knights and things like that. I don't want another fucking Saturnine Dreadnought.
I mean, to be fair, they fucking are. They're an absolute nightmare on the table. They're absolute pricks to get rid of. I hate them.
Yeah, but now you're going to get something bigger, and is that just so you can charge more for it? I mean, a Leviathan's what, 50 quid?
It's probably more than that.
I'm not going on the website to check. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, no.
I see your trap there, and I'm not doing it. But but no, seriously, I don't feel like we need a Saturnine Dreadnought. You've got all this other shit still to do. I mean, where's the super heavies? Where's, you know, the rapier lasers and tarantulas and all that kind of stuff?
Yep.
You know,
there's a whole lot of support stuff that we still haven't got.
We ain't got. Just make that in plastic. We don't know why you feel the need to do all this new stuff. Basically, new artillery or defensive structure, brand new to Horus Heresy. And from what I've heard, this is, you know, the quad laser cannon plastic kit that came out.
What, like the Icarus?
Yeah, the great big Icarus thing. Apparently, it's something like that.
Why?
There's no need for it. We don't need that.
No. Like the only reason that I would say that that's a justified inclusion is if they've given something back to vehicles and buffed their survival.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they're not going to get absolutely butt fucked.
They're a bit too squishy in Heresy as it is.
Yeah.
Like my tech marine was fucking useless at fixing stuff. It was an absolute waste of points and just enraged me. Like mid-game, just consistently failing rolls to
tech marine shaming right here.
Yeah, I'll shame that little bastard. He did fuck all. You know, and they took off Armoured Ceramite for 2nd edition, so you can't even bring along any like protection against melter stuff.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, melter just absolutely wrecks anything with armour.
Yeah, so unless vehicles are getting like a buff in some way to make them more survivable, I don't see how you really need a big gun on the battlefield to kill them more easily.
No, I don't see the point. I mean, if we can assume that this is probably going to come in at the same 180 price point that Legions of Darkness did, or sorry, Age of Darkness, I think we can say, like, I'm not particularly impressed. I mean, obviously, I've got to see pictures yet, but I'm really hoping they don't fuck this up, man, because Heresy is one of the few things I'm still like, oh yeah, you know, I like that. Yeah. I just bought the heavy support box set. I've got a box of the Solo Auxilia to build, and I've got 2 boxes of the Mechanicum Battle Force to build. You know, like that stuff. It fucking, you know, that's the stuff that I like. That's the stuff that, you know, gets me going. That aesthetic. This sounds kind of, I don't know, man. I have to wait and see, but
yeah, it's like we don't need 30k to lean more towards 40k in any way whatsoever.
No, especially with the rules, and it says here updated rule set, and I'm like, updated how much? Because if you Age of Sigmafy this, then I'm fucking out. It's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably so. To be fair, like it's the 7th edition rule set was peak 40k for me. Yeah, like 6th.
But you see, I thought that the Horus Heresy rule set was very good. I thought it was very good.
It's very good.
The problems I saw with it was exactly what GW did, and I said they won't be able to leave reactions alone, and reactions will get a bit stupid, because they did the same with command points. It's like, yeah, command points, this new thing, stratagems, this new thing, and then suddenly it was like, yeah, now you have 5 million of them, and
so many getches and so much stuff to remember.
Exactly, like, and I kind of feel like they've gone the same way with reactions.
They're a much more sensible way of doing things. It's like there's 6 reactions for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, for Marines, no one.
But then there was loads of ways to get more reactions and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just like, ugh.
No, it's nowhere near that bad. Like you get 6 reactions, you get 2 for each phase. There's 2 you can use. 2 you can use.
Yeah.
One of in movement, then you've got combat, and then you've got assault. Every legion gets their own advanced reaction that they can use once per game, which is cool.
See, 2 per phase is too much for me already.
Well, no, you get a choice of 2 per phase.
Yeah.
You can't use them both.
Right.
Unless you bring along a warlord.
This is what I'm saying. So then there's ways of just upping it and up and up.
No,
you know.
No.
I've seen games where people have used like eight reactions in a game, and it's just like,
pretty sure that's not how it works. Right? You basically get a choice of 1 reaction per phase, and one of your warlord will allow you to do 2 reactions in one of those phases. That's pretty much it. Like, so you should.
So how many reactions? How many reactions would you be able to say you would be able to use in a game, though? Because these are all things that slow down games. That's the problem.
You can get the most of 4 in a turn.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In a turn. In a turn. That's mental.
It's not that bad.
As I say, I saw a game with 8 in one game, and it was just crazy. So they just can't. GW just can't leave these things alone. So we'll have to wait and see. Because at the end of the day, we're not going to see it at Adepticon. Well, clearly, even if we do see anything at Adepticon, it will just be the and one last thing before we go.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier, isn't it? I think it will just be like what they did with Imperialis and just tag a little bit on the end. Look at this, and it's going to be like, ooh.
And in general, I've been kind of happy with what they've been doing with Heresy. They've done a fairly good job with it. I think they've done the Solo Auxiliary, they've done Mechanicum. You know, they've done some fairly good stuff. There's some stuff that they definitely should. It should not have taken a year and a half to do an assault sprue. That's pathetic.
No, it really shouldn't. I can only assume that that's down to a production ceiling that they ran into with their factory.
Presumably, yeah.
But now that apparently they've got their second one up and running, I think.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I'm out of the loop on that one. So.
I don't think they've got a second site up yet. Yeah, but they've definitely. It was in the Nottingham news recently that they have definitely got the site sorted, but I don't think they've got it built and everything yet. We'll have to wait and see. Please don't fuck up Horus Heresy. Please don't fuck up Horus Heresy.
The way that 40k's gone, I'm very happy that Heresy turned out the way it did.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
It's like the 40k rule set that we appreciated the most, tweaked to make it more modern.
Yeah, got rid of formations.
Yeah, some more stats introduced in that. It's a far more solid rule set than 40k ever had, dare I say. But, you know, like most rule sets, in hindsight, it could do with some tweaking. You know, reactions should be adjusted. Some of the stuff that says, oh, you can do this reaction as if you were stationary needs to pretty much go in the bin, because I think it leaves it a little bit too open for abuse. But on the whole, I think it's a great rule set. Like, for the game of that size, I think it's spot on. Like,
yes, because it's never going to be the big battle game that you would like it to be. That's why you've got Legion Imperialis, because you can't get more than 100 models onto the table without it just being bogged down, no matter what how great the rule set is.
Yeah, it's the nature of the rules. Like the more detailed the rules, the more complex the rule set, the longer it takes to play the game when you scale up the number of models, which is why Games Workshop are nerfing their rule set into simpledom in order to sell more models to people so they can play bigger games faster.
Yes.
But to me, like the fact alone that Heresy 1 came back and 2, but got introduced in plastic, and 2 had an older 40k rule set was, to me, in my interpretation, a direct nod of appreciation to people like us who supported Games Workshop for so long, and they've kind of gone like, oh, you like those rules? Sorry about 40k. Nudge, nudge.
Yeah, I don't think it's even that. When I spoke to Louise Sudgeon, she just basically said that all the old school people at GW that did 6th and 7th edition all went to work at Specialist Games, so it makes sense that they would carry on with those design
and they've retained it. And I did hear, like many years ago, that the reason that a bunch of Heresy stuff got delayed was so they could update the rule set. And this was when 8th came out. And there was talk of Heresy getting rewritten for that rule set, and that Alan Bly was kind of like, yeah, I think not. So I suspect there may have been some internal to-ing and throwing and strife there. And I'm very pleased that Mr. Bly's opinion seems to have come out on top. And I can only hope that it stays that way, because Heresy is more than likely aimed at the more mature crowd of players. And we appreciate the old rule set that it's based on. And if you change that, then it's kind of going to fuck up.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, is like, 40k is for kids and some adults play it, but Heresy is for adults and some kids play it.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably not many at all. I don't see any in the groups and things. I've never seen any youngsters playing Horus Heresy and stuff like that. It's always been older people. And I just don't want that dynamic to be lost. No, if you're going to kiddify an ungrimdark 40k, and we've all seen it, and it is happening effectively, then just leave us the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, please.
Leave us that, and you can kind of have 40k. I'm fine with that. I'll still paint the models because some of the models are nice and stuff like that. But I can let the lore go and all that kind of stuff, because it's not doing anything at the fucking moment anyway. You know, they brought the Lion back like 2 years ago, and he's not done anything. He's literally done nothing. And it's like the Tyranids were meant to be the big thing this year, and it's like, well, are they? They were meant to be getting close to Earth, and everybody was, oh, the Tyranids are the worst thing ever. Like, oh god, they're going to kill everybody. Nothing. Crickets. Yeah, instead, they're finishing off on fucking Narkman Gauntlet and Chaos Win, and it's just Chaos versus Imperium, and just 40k. I'm just like, I used to be like every single little lore update in 40k. I was like, oh, awesome, yeah, that's really cool. You know, this is really cool. That's really cool, and it just seems like they're not bothering. It's just like, here's some new toys to buy, here's some more new toys to buy, and another book, and you know the book's not going to have any lore worth it in it. Whereas when I was reading the Horus Heresy, books, the lore was worth reading.
Definitely would.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens with 40k. I think, to be honest, with the Amazon show and all that kind of thing, and GW wanting to make it more palatable, I think that it will become more and more sort of neutered as time goes on. I mean, I've been watching the Gundam TV series, and honestly, the Gundam TV series do a better job depicting war and the horrors of war than I think 40k has recently.
Which one was that?
It was Gundam War in the Pocket and Gundam... Oh, was it 8th Mobile Suit Team? Both very good. Very good. Very good at presenting war as grey. Like, nobody's really in the right, nobody's really in the wrong. They're different, but they're fighting, and it's just a tragedy all round. But, you know, this one we watched... Oh, no, it was Gundam F91.
Okay.
And it had, like, an attack by one of the big mobile suits. And you've got a baby crying on his dead mother's corpse. And I'm like, that's fucking harsh, man, you know? And then there's
quite an old one.
Yeah, it'd be like late 80s, early 90s, I guess. We're watching another one at the moment called Stardust Memories, which is 1991, because I'm kind of slowly working through the ones I like, because I'll be doing some videos about Gundam just as a fair warning to you guys, because I've been building a load recently. But there's like different timelines of Gundam, and some of them just start getting really, really silly and toy-like, and there's bits all over them. I prefer like the older style looking mobile suits. Again, I'll try and put some pictures up. But some of them, the gimmicks and stuff just getting a little bit over the top, and it's like there's bits all over them with different colours and stuff. And I was like, eh.
Yeah, I think I always lean a little bit more towards Macross.
That's what I prefer. The kind of Macross, the Valkyrie type looking things, and the older mobile suits.
Zero was the last one that I watched.
But the depiction,
even that was a while ago.
The depiction of the war is brilliant. It's really well done. And I was just looking, I was reading, I was just like, 40k can't even do this. Do you know what I mean? Like, some of the hammer and bolters were okay, but other than that, like, it just... You've got this world, this universe of Warhammer 40,000, but we never really see how it affects people.
No, I mean, I think the closest that we got was probably the hammer on... Well, visually, was the hammer on bolter with the...
Do you see the Coles?
I was about to say, with the Imperial Guard trying to get off planet.
Yes, the Imperial Guard in inverted commas.
Yeah,
that one was, as you say, the closest we got, and that's why that was such a great episode. Even with the sting in the tail at the end, as it were. But we don't get to see, and you certainly don't get to see. I'm not saying like, I need to see dead kids for something to be, but I think you need to see these shocking things, and I don't want it to be neutered. Like, the 40k universe is meant to be absolute hell. Show me it's absolute fucking hell. You know. I think of like what was the Horus Heresy TV series, Horus Heresy web series that guy did, and it's like the most brutal thing. You've got like Ultramans being ripped apart and tortured by word bearers.
That's one that Cole really liked.
I can't remember what it's called now. It's fucking brilliant. And again, not because necessarily that my chosen faction's being tortured to death and stuff like that, but just the fact that it depicts that. And 40k just doesn't seem to at the moment. 40k just seems to be very sort of surface level, Space Marines, hero, fighting chaos, evil. We don't get to see the nitty gritty. I mean, we almost got to see a bit of it with Inquisitor, that Inquisitor series. Because we did see some of that, because there's people being tortured and like their blood was being taken to make into a serum or something like that. That kind of stuff was going on. But again, for the most part, you don't tend to get that.
The Death of Hope.
Death of Hope, that was it, yeah. And that was absolutely brutal. And GW still haven't given us anything close to that. And I wonder if they're scared to, because they're worried about driving
Timmy away.
Yeah, Timmy away.
Sorry if anyone called Tim's actually listening, by the way. We're not victimising you in any way.
Timmy! But, yeah, and I was watching Gundam, and I was just like, my God, like, the Japanese were doing this 30 years ago.
Yeah, and the Japanese are no strangers to the harsh realities of war.
Well, indeed. And in some ways, it's more brutal and more nuanced, even though it's a cartoon, than anything that 40k seems to be capable of giving us at the moment, which is a bit of a shame. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with the Horus Heresy. I'm really, really hoping they don't fuck it up. And I'm not sure what the next preview after Adepticon is. I've got a feeling it's like Warhammer Day in May or something.
Warhammer Fest, whenever
Fest or whatever, in May. I think the next one's in May, I think. So maybe that'll be when we see it instead. Maybe they'll give us a couple of, a couple of previews on the Horus Heresy Thursdays or something like that. But yeah, these rumours have got me a little bit concerned, and I'm hoping to be alleviated. And I was hoping to be alleviated at Adepticon, and that does not appear to be the case.
Apparently not. Although speaking of Heresy, I'm quite pleased and irritated to see that there's new Heresy stuff coming up at the weekend.
Not for Legion Imperialis though. It's just the support box broken down. Yeah,
and it's got Ursarax as well, which was nice.
Weren't they in the support box? No, they weren't.
Nope. So yeah, 6 Ursarax. So I think I'll grab me a box of those.
Oh yeah, shit. I didn't realise, man. Yeah, no, I blatantly need some Ursarax.
Those are the highlight. Is those guys. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I mean,
that's the Legion Imperialis update, isn't it? With the little tanks coming.
Yeah,
the versions of the big tanks.
Like these are all things that we've got rules for and no mod. Unlike these, which we've got models for and rules. So, priorities, guys.
So yeah, I've got all those. Oh yeah, you're right. I haven't got the Ursarax. Oh yeah, I have to get a couple of boxes of those when we get back from honeymoon. Now
they're a little bit but the models are great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm likely to play many games. To be honest, I just like painting the models.
Yeah,
and cool. And hopefully like 6 for 45 quid or whatever.
I dare say it'll be the same as the Thalax.
Which is 6 for 45 quid?
Maybe. I don't know. I'll have a gander.
Yeah, you have a look, because I don't want to look. I don't want to go on that website.
I just have a look at Element.
Oh, okay.
Because they've got like the RRP on there crossed out, which is always nice to see. Although, I need to spell Thalax right though. No unit. Yeah, they've got them for 40 quid.
Right. So they're probably normally £47.50.
Yep, exactly that.
Yeah, cool, because they do 15% off. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, yeah, that's what I would expect, I suppose. So, yeah, you get them for 40 quid. It's not so tragic, is it?
Element opened a London store. Nice.
Oh, have they? Where's that then?
168 Drury Lane.
That does not help.
Port Road, Covent Garden, closest stations.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can only hope that the rest of the Mechanicum stuff's coming soon then. Including the Isle Attacks. But
Isle Attacks and Myrmidons.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely get some of these guys to put into my eventual Mechanicum army. So the thing I wanted to discuss today was, I kind of wanted to talk about how us as grognards, and me in particular, with the view upon 40k that we have, are maybe, and I kind of want to hear from our viewers on this as well, do you consider yourselves part of the fandom? Because I don't think I do consider myself part of the Warhammer 40,000 fandom, which seems to, these days, largely resolve around memes and some stuff that I can only just describe as cringe, where Warhammer 30,000 seems to have reached this large audience.
Yeah.
It's you know what I mean? Like back in the day, we did stuff, but it was a much smaller hobby, and it wasn't. You might have somebody say, "Oh, what would happen if the Imperium, like invaded real life or something like that, or if Tyranids attacked Earth in real life?" But there wasn't the crossover so much with different franchises, and you know, I see an awful lot of it these days, be it with memes or models or whatever, and I must just be getting old because some of it I'm just like, ugh. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
You know, be it shippers or be it cat people or just whatever, and I'm just like, fuck, I feel old.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with any hobby. Once it reaches a certain level of popularity, then it's going to get subjected to the whims of people that you may not necessarily agree with.
Yes, yeah, and you know, it's like there was a picture, and it's a guy doing a drawing, and he's doing a drawing of a Sister of Battle.
Oh no!
And his artwork is the Sister of Battle as we know them, you know, tight corsets, boob armor, that kind of stuff. And then it's like the actual subject is wearing all completely non-sexualized plate, like night plate. And you just go through the comments and you just kind of lose the will to live. Because it's all people bringing politics into it and just, it's problematic because it looks like this, and they should really, you know, have the non-sexualized armor where you can't tell what anybody is and you can't see anything. And then you've got a few people rightly pointing out that it was Van Dyer who said, you know, that the ecclesiastic couldn't have men at arms, so they have to make sure that they look like women from a distance, which explains the corsets and boob arm, because, you know. And then you had other people attacking them, and I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, we never used to have this.
This level of bullshit.
I don't remember one person. I mean, bear in mind, this battle came out in like 96, 97 maybe, second edition Codex.
Been a while.
I don't remember a single person turning around and going, oh, it's way too sexualised.
Nope.
Not one person. And now you've just got all this fucking constant intersectional bullshit. And it's just like, oh, you know, just to appeal to the fucking misogynist, blah, 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 armour. And then unironically, in the very next post, they go and put up something about fucking cat girls, fucking Imperial Guardsmen or something. I'm just like, oh my God, please.
Was it a cat girl demonette? Because that seems to be that all Slanesh is good for the current crop of popular people.
I can't remember. It was on Imperium. It was on the Imperium of Man group, and I'm not part of that group. I left all the 40k groups, but they still keep showing up because I keep interacting with Warhammer stuff. Like when Games Workshop put a post up or something like that, I interact with it. So it keeps showing me Imperium of Man. And as I say, I think this Dawn of War thing that I commented on was Imperium of Man. So it's like, oh, you must like this. And it's like, no, not really.
No.
So, yeah, I had a thought about it. I was just like, I don't know that I would consider myself part of the fandom. I like Warhammer 40,000. I have done for 30 odd years. But I'm not sure that I would consider myself part of it. If somebody said to me, like, oh, you know, do you like 40k? I'd be like, oh, yeah. I used to love it. I like it now. You know, I think it was way better back in the day. You know, the old grognard rose-tinted glasses will kick in and everything. But I'm not sure that I would consider myself part of the fandom when I look at what I consider the fandom to be. And I look at a lot of it and I'm just like, get a fucking girlfriend for the love of God.
Yeah.
Please. You know what I mean? It's like when you got that SNL sketch with William Shatner and he's on stage and all these nerds asking questions. And he's like, have you ever even kissed a girl? Get a life. You know? And the mighty William Shatner hit 94 years old just the other day.
He did. Out of all of the original cast, he's the one that's still going.
It's him and George Takei, man. They basically hate each other so much that they're staying alive by pure will. Because, you know, George hates William Shatner and just won't let him fucking outlive him. So, yeah, madness. Really? Yeah, George Takei's like 89 now, I think. 88, 89.
Oh,
but
my.
William Shatner looks a lot healthier. You know, William Shatner looks like he's going for another 10 years easily. So, yeah. I was just thinking I was going to do a separate little video about it, having a bit of a rant. I thought, no, I want to get your perspective on it because at the end of the day, gaming, both of us, you balance me out and stuff like that. But I was just thinking, like, you know,
in this instance, I'm not sure I can.
You know, what the fandom represents and what I see the fandom put up and just all of the bullshit and political, before we even get into things like female space marines and stuff like that. And it's like nobody's having discussions about the law or debates about things. It's just constant ad hominem attacks and straw man arguments and just this constant parade of just social media bullshit. And yeah, I was just kind of thinking, wondering what you thought about it, mate, really.
Pretty much the same as you, really. Like, as soon as politics and the other shit gets dragged into dragged into the hobby due to it basically getting popular enough for it to attract those kind of people. I'm just like, nah. There's nothing in this. Like the few positive things that are in this Facebook group that got me here in the first place are just not worth the amount of bullshit that I'm seeing posted. So I'm just...
for every one funny meme you see, that's quite funny, or a cool paint job or something.
Exactly, a decent paint job. 10
people fucking ranting about somebody, or wanting more representation for something or something like that, or bitching because there's no girls in Space Marine 2. I've seen it all. I imagine it's the same on places like bloody Reddit, which I do not populate at all. I just don't use it.
Bad. It just depends on which subreddit you go in.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe it's something that's just going to continue happening as 40k does just get more popular and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like I'm not gonna lie, the Star Trek fandom's just as bad, as bad. It's maybe got a slightly older median. I don't think young kids are into Star Trek these days at all.
No, I mean, like you said about William Shatner being on stage and just going like, "Have you ever had a girlfriend? Get a life." It just reminds me of Extras with Patrick Stewart.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not going to go into what, like, the script that Sir Patrick Stewart pitches, or what he's got rattling around, because that is a perverse delight.
It's too late. He's seen everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's things that you would never think that you would hear, like a knighted Shakespearean actor utter in any way
brilliant,
whatsoever, and it's amazing for it.
So no,
but he's talking to Ricky Gervais, and he kind of goes like, "Oh, have you never seen Star Trek?" And he goes, "No, I've seen it." And he goes, "Oh, your wife doesn't let you watch it."
Yeah.
And he goes, "I'm not married." And he goes, "Your girlfriend then?" And he goes, "I don't have a girlfriend." And he goes, "What?" He goes, so you're not married, you don't have a girlfriend, and you've never seen Star Trek?" And he goes, "No." And he just goes, "Good Lord." Which was just great.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's such a thing as getting too into things. And I think the problem is that people suddenly start adopting what they like as an identity. So any attack upon that identity or their favourite faction then becomes a personal attack on them.
Yeah, and I think that's something that you tend to grow out of. I think I went through a very brief period of that sort of thing when, like, in the early 2000s, maybe. When the internet was fully getting going with bulletin boards, not bulletin boards, like forums and stuff like that.
Yeah, back in the Warseer days and Daka, which is still going, I think.
Exactly, but now I'm just kind of like, I don't really give a shit what anyone else thinks about my opinion.
No.
If you like what I'm saying, then awesome. Like, thanks very much for that. But it's just kind of like, I am me, and where I have been into Warhammer since I was 12, maybe, and I'm like 46 now.
Yeah.
On the outside, and I can say stuff to people, and if they disagree with me, I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't really care that you disagree with me, because your opinion fundamentally has no impact on my life whatsoever.
Yes.
So you can say what you like, and if you don't agree with what I'm saying, that's fine. And if you're going to be insulting about it, I'll just raise an eyebrow and be like, really? And if people are going to get really pissy about things that someone else says, they probably need to sit down and have a serious look at why that person's opinion carries that much weight for them. And it's
people getting too involved, I think, too attached. Like, at the end of the day, we like it, we're passionate about it, we care about what, but it is just toy models at the end of the fucking day. You know what I mean? It's like when you want to go on, like, going again back to the previews, like the Adepticon preview, and like you accidentally leave the chat on Twitch. And the chat is just pure cancer. It's just people constantly bitching. Why no Death Guard? Why no this? Why no that? Why no that? And like, don't get me wrong. Like, there's points to be made that GW completely sort of leave Xenos races in the dirt in favour of other things.
But they always have.
They always have, and you bitching about it on fucking comments and shit isn't going to make any difference. But that's what it all. That's just constantly what it is. Oh, this is shit. This is shit. This is shit. Like, you and me might have our say on things, but we very I wouldn't go on to a live chat and just go, oh, this is bollocks, this is bollocks, this is bollocks.
No,
you
not at
know,
all.
what's the point? What's it going to change?
Exactly.
You know, we'll give our opinions on things because we do have what we can at least consider to be a reasoned and veteran, let's just be kind, veteran point of view on these things, and we've seen everything change.
Benefit of like 30 years of experience in the hobby.
Exactly, yeah, exactly that. But the and I hate the word toxicity because, you know, Henry Cavill came out and he was brilliant. You know, but he was asked what he thought about toxic fans, and this was in relation to people bitching about The Witcher and stuff like that, I believe, or Star Wars.
Yeah, I hate Mother Down as well.
He turned around and said, you know, I don't think they're necessarily toxic fans so much as passionate fans that they care about something. And this is true. This is why I will bitch about the current state of Star Trek. This is why I will bitch about the current state of Star Wars. This is why I will bitch about the current state of what the hell they're calling Lord of the Rings at the moment. And this is why I will bitch about the current state of 40k, because I'm passionate. But there is a fine line between that and just, you know, I just kind of feel like it's like, you know, that Martin Freeman meme. Calm down a bit. You know, take a step back. You know, it's okay to comment on these things objectively, but if you get too attached and too personal and stuff like that, like as we calls the Ultramarines a Smurf, so yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it's just a nickname. Like,
It's just a nickname. You know, I mean, you know, it'd be if GW turned around and did something to fuck up the Ultramarines, you know, then I might get upset because they have the power to do something. But if somebody's just saying, "Oh, Marnius Kolkar's gay" or something like, all right. It's a strange perspective to have, but yeah, fair enough, whatever. You know, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't make any change. This is the thing that I think like almost with gatekeepers is like you don't really have the power to gatekeep anything because you don't own the hobby.
Nope.
It is our hobby, and you can have the hobby any way you want. And if you want to play a version of the game where all the things that you don't want aren't in it, then that's easy enough to do. You can gatekeep from that perspective. But the people who are going to control what happens to the hobby going forward is Games Workshop. If Games Workshop turns around and decides to put 40k female Space Marines in 40k next year,
there's nothing you can do about it.
There ain't nobody going to stop them. Do you know what I mean? They keep making money hand over fist no matter what they do. So any boycotts or whatever obviously aren't happening. You know, the only people who have power over GW are GW. At the end of the day, they are the custodians of the franchise, for better or for worse. So you just you have to take the good and just, as I say, just try not to get too attached to it, I suppose. But yeah, it's just a little chat about how I just when it comes to the fandom term, you know, and back in the day it was like, oh, you know, nerdy stuff and stuff like that. We all did nerdy shit and, you know, that kind of stuff.
I mean, this is a gaming and 40k like podcast thing. Like, it's still pretty nerdy. Like, exactly,
yeah. And then, you know, when we move on to things like, you know, as I say, Gundam and talk about that, or, you know, a film we might have seen or something cool like that we've watched, you know, because those kind of things tend to tie into each other, including metal. You know, like metal has always been a part of this subculture as well. I don't know, man. It's just, it does seem that, as you correctly say, the more widespread it gets, and it's eked out of that kind of long hair and beard aspect of 40k, and as it spreads its wings, it kind of feels like it's been diluted a little bit. Again, maybe to go back to a Lord of the Rings quote, like Bilbo saying, you know, butter scraped over too much bread. Then somebody in the fandom runs with it and says that they hate something or they want to change it, or, you know, that they're going to have a fight with somebody based over something about it or something like that. And then it just all kicks off on social media, and I'm just sitting there just like, again, if we go back to another meme and I'll put it up, but it's like that one of Gulliman smoking. It's taken from something else. It's put over it, but he's like, you know, got his head in his hands, he's got a cigarette in his other hand, he's just like, you know, by the throne, could you not, for like 1 minute?
Yep.
And it becomes kind of embarrassing, and I suppose it is partly due to the assimilation of geek culture by the mainstream in general, be it things like Lord of the Rings, Marvel. Normies are now into all of this stuff, so it's, you know, it's become a little bit watered down, I suppose. But yeah, I was just interested in your perspective. It sounds like you more or less agree with me, to be honest.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, there's not really much else.
No, I agree. I mean, there's not much, but it's a point of view, isn't it? And as I say, you guys listening, let us know what you think. You know, do you consider yourself to, you know, do you only hang out in darkened corners, huddled around a table, speaking to people grognardish like us? You know, keep your own circles and stuff, or do you dip your toes into the wider cesspool immaterium that is social media and Facebook and groups like Imperium of Man, all that kind of stuff? because it's one of those things where you do look at the occasional meme and stuff, and that's funny, that's cool, but it all ties into this greater aspect of cringe, I suppose. And, can you take it or leave it, or do you just find yourself despairing of it every single time you go and look at it, like me? And I'm just like, because we've got to admit that we're old guys now, and I'm in mid-40s and everything, and a lot of people getting into 40k are younger and younger and younger, and probably use words like Riz and Skibbity Toilet and that kind of stuff. We're old men just shouting at clouds, going, "What the fuck's this?" And, man, the most true thing that I have ever seen in my entire life is that bit from The Simpsons with Grandpa Abe, and he's like, "I used to be hip, and then hip changed, and I wasn't hip, and now I'm scared of, what's hip." And then he just turns around and goes, "It will happen to you too." And I was just like, "Yeah, it's the most true thing. Like, these things cycle, and it will just, 20 years from now, there may well be another bunch of grognards going, 'Oh, it never used to be like this in the day. We never used to have, I don't know, whatever the fuck," assuming that 40k is still going and it hasn't burned out as a fad or something. But just a little chat about it for this little sort of getting back into CHEBS. Whether or not we manage to do the preview stream live, I don't know if we'll bother, or if we'll just try and catch. Because I fly out to Corfu on Sunday, so we need to get together Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night to do a quick preview roundup, if not. So it's which of those nights you're available to do so?
Yeah, I'm sure I can make time.
It won't take long.
Nah, it's just that, like, I don't think whenever we've stayed up to do a live coverage or something, I'm not entirely sure it's ever been worth it, considering the amount of the hours that it is.
Yes, the effects on our body clocks and the amount of people that actually tune in or watch. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, you have got all of like the big Val racks and what have you of this world that are massive compared to this tiny little channel that we bring you. And people will just go and watch it on there for some reason because they like hearing the word Isildur every 30 seconds. But I don't mind Valrak's videos, but I can't watch his streams. They drive me absolutely insane. But yeah, we'll have a chat about it. And either way, even if we don't bring you a live reaction, we'll do a little roundup video or something based upon what's shown. But yeah, sound off below, guys, and we will catch you real soon.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.